much, Aparna. Thank you so much. We are not going to use any PowerPoint presentation, as you are now on a news channel that is Protouch Corporate News, and I.
Your voice is breaking. Network, I think.
For today, all to trusted talks on Protouch Corporate Training, PTCT.
Oh, did we lose Vidhu?
Vidhu, there is an audio issue, I believe. Your voice is not audible.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Is it? Am I audible now?
There's an moment.
Am I audible now?
You are.
Yes. So maybe us can be on video, and the others can just pin that person, so that, because the virtual background is the same for everyone, right? So I think that should be good.
Okay.
Or maybe one of us can do the screen sharing as well. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm starting again. Hi, a cheerful evening to all. I, Vidhu Gupta, your host and host for today, welcome you all to Trusted Talks on Protouch Corporate Training, PTCT News, beautifully shared by Malcolm Forbes. Diversity, the art of thinking independently together. Diversity and existence of variations of different characteristics in a group of people. Diversity that makes us unique. Diversity is experiences, talents, skills, opinions at workplace. एक साथ आना एक शुरुआत है, साथ रहना प्रगति है, और साथ मिलकर काम करना सफलता है. These days, businesses are considering diversity and inclusion a vital element for growth, and interestingly, companies practicing diversity and inclusion can reflect societies and demographies more accurately. They can speak to a broader market. They get more creative and are certainly proven to be more profitable. Diversity efforts were really starting to gain ground in the final years of 2010s. But then the COVID-19 pandemic hit and upended virtually every aspect of corporate life around the world. While COVID-19 certainly has not killed diversity and inclusion, it has created new obstacles and realigned priorities. Research conducted for the world reveals that 33% of businesses claim that coronavirus pandemic has harmed their diversity and inclusion activity, with 30% suggesting it will make it harder to enact and push through diversity and inclusion initiatives. Companies that continue to place great value on D&I are nevertheless finding new and innovative ways to continue to embrace and support such efforts. So, to understand more on impact of COVID on diversity initiatives, today we have amongst us Soumya, HR professional, talent and OD partner with Legal Ease Solutions; Vinny Joshi, senior research associate at Kachnan; Mansi in Aviation Air India; and Lakshmi, who's the director of Lakshya Consultants, in the studio to talk on the topic. I welcome you all to PTCT News. You know, just before the starting of the show, my cameraman whispered in my ears that diversity is the topic, madam, and all the females in the panel. Maybe our audience is also thinking the same way. Hey, don't forget our guest speaker for last 2 weeks, Dr. Aparna Sethi, talking, rather educating us a lot on unconscious biases. I am borrowing some high words to say that diversity, it's more about experiences, personalities, thought process, innovations, and whatnot. So, Lakshmi and Mansi, we are starting from you. You are the people who are impacted from this pandemic, and you have some personal experience to share. So Lakshmi, please share your insights on impact of pandemic on diversity initiatives.
Thank you, Vidhu. Thank you so much for the energetic introduction. I would like to start with saying about a survey made by Intel. It says 81% of business leaders in India have said that the workplace disruptions caused by pandemic have had a positive impact on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in their organizations, demonstrating how remote workspaces and hybrid work models have been successful for achieving diversity goals. Uh, do I now speak as a director of an NGO called One Life Suicide Prevention Helpline, which runs 24/7, which was operating from Hyderabad with a team of first responders who are mental health workers. This was pre-pandemic. While the pandemic struck, we understood that we could not, recruit volunteers from Hyderabad anymore. We had to expand our network beyond the small group we had. So we moved on to remote working and digitalization, where we started online training and recruitment. And to have more members, we started hiring underrepresented groups from diverse backgrounds, women, LGBTQ, specially abled senior citizens who came on board across India and trained with us for online, and we deployed their services across India to callers who were calling amidst the pandemic, discussing financial crises, support required, even food grains, where we could connect to others. So we not only digitalized to help of digitalization for this diversity initiative, we had also used tools, adoption of tools to reach a wider audience and to include the diversity initiatives like counseling programs, expert webinars, COVID-19 helpline with 105 COVID squad volunteers. These are some ways we provided support to our callers during those extraordinary times. Next came expanding our diversity and inclusion network. You won't believe we worked with specially able hearing impaired group, which came forward to offer their services to help the group, their own group through our network. So expanding network was the third most important tool we had, apart from tools and digitalization, which had really had a positive impact on our inclusion initiatives. Most importantly, social innovation kicked in at this point of time, which came in the form of we partnering with Women's Safety Wing of Telangana Police to manage a similar helpline we were doing, where a domestic violence victim who could not come to police stations and counselings due to the isolation of the pandemic could be reached through. This was a social innovation itself, right? And this was where we really made a big impact and inclusion of women who were isolated during the pandemic. So what was the learning for us is that the positive impact for our organization during the COVID was going beyond organizational goals to impact communities. Our learning is diversity and inclusion has to go ahead of organizations and be the tailwind for wider communities, right? This is my take on diversity, positive impact of diversity and inclusion from the point of an NGO. Thank you so much.
Wow, great. Thank you so much. Now let us understand the flip side of the coin. My audience would want to know from you, Mansi, what are the biggest challenges organizations face in understanding the extent to which underrepresented groups at their companies are being disproportionately impacted by COVID-19, the resulting recession and remote work environment? Yes, Mansi.
A very good evening to everyone out there. And hi, Vidhu. Thank you for such a great opening. So now where we start with the impacts to the underrepresented groups that we've had. Well, I would say our fight with COVID-19 is still not over. However, it has been two painful hectic waves behind us. We are still working hard to stay safe and healthy. However, with so much happening around us, several companies have definitely come up and extended their support to their employees to make their lives easier, especially looking at these underrepresented. I would rather want to say the LGBT group. I will take one group, for instance, because when we go online to check on the reports, there are many negative reports because, let's take India. The law was only abolished in 2018 September, and the COVID hit on March 2022. And with that hit, we were hardly coming to terms of making an inclusion of theirs to the company, to the lives and everything. And there we were locked behind the doors, where I think they were not too happy because these people were not too welcomed at home. And these groups, I would say, I'm sorry, just I passed it. Howsoever, with few negatives, I would just say the employers did play immense pivotal roles in shaping the lives, well-being of LGBTQ employees, their families, especially in the times of the crisis. The inclusion work has been more important even before. The understanding of inclusion of them has been much more, and employers are considering it that they are more vulnerable workers, and especially they are more affected due to the COVID-19 times. However, there are many companies and which have taken enough to give them a very warm welcome in the company during, like Microsoft, Tata Steels, Hindustan Lever companies. They all have had, and I would like to share a few notes. The workshops and the sessions have been there in these companies, even on more instances, to educate people about the LGBTQ community, which was going on a very slow pace before. So people know it. The gender inclusive restrooms have been made. There have been columns in where we always had male and female. Now you do have openly an others column where you can definitely go in and set in a choice of yours.
Very
So
interesting.
I would just say that it has not only been a negative one. So with COVID, it has definitely impacted us negatively, but then the kind of innovation it has given us, and especially towards this side, the companies are going beyond their engagements, helping
Great.
the managers and the senior levels to master the basic leading diverse and flexible teams. So I would like to say, with the negatives comes the positive, and here is the positive impact that we look forward to now.
Agree, Mansi. Thank you so much. Very interesting. And a thought-provoking insight came from your side. So elaborating on these points, Winnie, how you look at diversity initiatives and role of COVID in it. Please enlighten us.
Yeah, I don't know whether I can enlighten, but I can definitely share a few experiences. Good evening, everyone. So, yeah, to start with, actually, it's a very personal experience of mine that during COVID, I was jobless, and I've survived the entire COVID period selling masks. So, mask was a very like hit kind of a thing, and I used to paint and I used to create masks, and I used to go door to door delivering masks. So that is how I have survived the entire COVID period. So being at that level, I could not imagine myself coming back to corporate ever again. But thanks to work from home opportunities, that I got a breakthrough, and I could get back into my corporate career and start back recruitments and all over again. So
Amazing.
yeah. So the thing is, my challenge was child rearing. I could not really afford the daycare, transportation, and all that. So thanks to COVID, in a way that child rearing became possible, and we can, do work-life balance, and we can strike a balance taking care of the child, and as well as accelerate your corporate dreams as well at the same time. So this was one of the most important, what you can say, contribution of COVID-19 on a positive side to many women like me who could come back to work. So many mothers have joined back, and they are making good for themselves. So other than that, there are different professional diversities, professional things that I could see that there is an impact on those careers. Just highlighting few of them. One is, like, as we know that transactional part was electronized, and that is why we started depending on home deliveries. We started depending on services like Dunzo. We started Zomato and everything. So a lot of people got work opportunities because of that. Many home delivery services got more employment. And other than that, I think the transactional point of view, suburbs and towns and all opened units for government bodies also. Like earlier, we used to travel to Mumbai for visa. Now there are offices in Pune as well for US visa, which was not prevalent before COVID-19. So there is employment in Pune in visa centers because all of this kind of thing happened. So it's a very small example, but it creates a lot of difference to our lives. Then there are professions like doctors. We started treating doctors like gods. So like there have been interns who got a very good hands-on experience working in hospitals, working to save people from dying and save their lives. So which wouldn't have been really possible in at such an early stage in their careers, but because of lack of manpower and lack of doctors, I think most of the profession got to utilize all their possible skill sets and learnings in the practical scenario. So we can say that the professionally we could understand like what the importance of doctors, what doctors play, the role they play in our lives. Then other than that, I would just like to touch on the film industry, which was completely shut down during COVID, and people lost so many things in COVID. Like I lost my house. My husband is in film industry, so my ex-husband, I would say, but we lost our house in that. So like what to do? But then people find out some where there is a will, there is a way. So there was a way where people started creating events online. There was OTT platform that gained a lot of importance, and like ticket khirki, small bookings used to happen. And the good side of it is now people can sit at home, perform, and reach global audience. So here you can touch the global audience. So that is the thing, that from inclusive perspective, you are reaching masses now. There's a possibility at least to reach. And one of the best examples I would like to add is like the Protouch training that we are pursuing right now, sitting in different places and actually experiencing a wonderful training program, interacting with people from different cities. We don't know where do you actually stay, but still connecting so well. So I think this is a gift that we have got from COVID-19.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I'm sure the our PTCT news director, Dr. Aparna, would be able to give thumbs up on that, no?
So that is it actually.
I'm
there are so many points to cover. Actually, just one last thing.
I want to thank this news channel. Thank you so much. I promise that we will keep on giving this kind of services to our Janta, and will impact lives more. Thank you.
Absolutely, ma'am. And please take care of my paycheck now.
Yeah. So one last thing I want to add in this, which I actually missed earlier, that impact wise, we all realize the importance of physical touch, how much it means when people are there for you physically. So that is the greatest impact, which I would say from my perspective.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Winnie. It was great that you could wrap the impact of COVID on various sectors. Yes, even in the case of education sector, pandemic opened the doors for online education in India in such a short duration that now it has become more than 50,000 crore industry. And this kind of initiative is surely a concrete step towards diversity and inclusion. Yeah. So, Samya, I would want to know more on challenges that corporate faced, and kindly let us very quickly know the various initiatives taken by them.
Thank you, Vidyu. Thank you for inviting me to the PTCT talk show. However, there's a drawback of being the last speaker in a discussion because most of the points that you would have already been covered or spoken by others present in the discussion. However, my peers here have summarized both the positive and the negative effects of COVID very beautifully. Lakshmi, Mansi, and Vinny, all three of them have spoken on a variety of sectors and topics ranging from layoffs to having need to start up their own startups. So having said that, in respect to the corporate sector, I would like to highlight certain key impact which were in addition to the points discussed today. March 2020 was the time period when millions suddenly found themselves being laid off or forced to a life of remote work. Some of the prominent challenges that were caused due to this were like the toll of mental health of employees due to either the loss of jobs or the near and dear ones, or even the colleagues who were working right next to them were no more the next day. So all of this took a toll on the mental health, and these also causes the associated workload increases. The layoffs, though there was a reduction in force, there was still work that needs to be done, services that needs to be offered to the clients, because the clients are the king at the end of the day. And then there was this loss of connectivity and belongingness due to remote work, because we as human beings are social animals. We are so connected. We don't feel like we are living unless we speak to the next person, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
connectiveness and the belongingness was missing. And the job insecurity due to the remote work setup on a fair and performance evaluations and its effect on growth and progress was also a challenge that the organizations had to face, and they need to come up with various means to mitigate this. Physical health, last but not the least, was one of the major concern, because employees were so hesitant to come back to work. Coaxing them to come to work had been a real tough challenge. Child and family care, homeschooling, all of these were predominantly challenges across all sectors, but more so in the corporate sector, because end of the day, the employer takes the responsibility of the safety of the workforce. So to address these challenges, there were certain adjustments or the expansion to the policies that the organizations had. Few of them were expanded flexible work, increased paid time off like COVID recovery leave for self and for the family members, extend healthcare benefits like where the COVID illness was included as part of the package, and also the terms of how unpaid or unavailed leaves can be used, because all these lapsing of leave at the end of the calendar year, these rules were taken care of. There was extensions that was given by the organizations. So there were a lot of these changes with respect to how time off can be utilized was also worked upon. And the performance management that had a major impact, because people no longer knew how their performance was going to be evaluated, because remote work, again, the managers were of the stereotypical behavior where the person need to come into work 9 to 6, you work. If you extend one more hour, you're always considered to be hardworking. So no longer those processes were there in place. They were like unwritten rules, but still it had a major impact on the performance evaluations. Having said that, due to remote working of the COVID-19 challenge, the organizations started working on the results only work environment. We call it in short as ROE. So this was majorly used by many of the organizations to evaluate the performance of the team members, and introduction of virtually instructor-led training programs to ensure the availability of equal learning opportunities. So this again also had an impact on diversity and inclusion, because not only the so-called position or the power holders in the organization can take that up, but also it was available to a larger audience to the great extent. So that had an inclusiveness in it. Employees were also allowed to move from full-time to part-time to manage their needs in the home front, like increase of unpaid time off for the family members caring, homeschooling, which was a major challenge for most of the working mothers. The biasness that comes along with it on taking care of children is always the woman's role. So that again had a impact, and organizations understood this. And while having speaking on this point, I also want to highlight about the key highlight amongst the increased focus on inclusive leadership trainings, which were extended as part of the COVID-19 impact to the people managers and to the leaders in the organizations, ensuring equal access of technology to everyone in the team, and how to have a virtual meeting, the beginning of the virtual meeting, acknowledging everyone who's present in the virtual meeting platform, not only the important position holders again. So that kind of inclusiveness was again sensitized for the people managers, because usually it is like whoever gets the talk are the ones who always have a word on the table. So understanding the gender bias when it comes to understanding the team members' priorities at the home and also at the work, and enhanced communication on shared goals and equitable distribution of information. All of these were certain
Great.
points which were covered in the
Great. Thank
leadership
you so
training
much.
and
Thank you so much,
sensitization.
Soumya, for your kind words. And yes, we have to agree that inclusion and diversity are at risk in the crisis, but are critical for business recovery, resilience, and reimagination. We have understood that companies have various pressures, but our today's discussion with experts highlighted some of the qualities that categorize diverse and inclusive companies. Notably, innovation and resilience will be much in need as companies recover from the crisis. Indeed, it could help companies to unlock the power of diversity and inclusion as an enabler of business performance and organizational health, and contribute to the wider effort to revive economies and safeguard social cohesion. As we saw during World War II, when many married women with children joined the labor force for the first time, we can say big crisis can bring about big change. At this watershed moment, this is an opportunity to forge a new commitment to equality and fairness, and that will ensure more prosperity for all. The Creator is showing enough examples every day to make us understand that embracing diversity is significant. Nature is the best example to understand diversity and inclusion. Yes, it's time to practice it more, and more. Thank you so much, Soumya, Mansi, Vinny, and Lakshmi for sparing your valuable time and present the wholesome picture on impact of COVID on diversity initiatives. And now, I'm Vidhu Gupta signing off from Trusted Talks. We will meet again on the same channel, on the same stage with a different topic. Till then, व्यस्त रहे, स्वस्थ रहे, मस्त रहे. Sayonara.